What's up, everyone? Walt, Flower City Cards, back again. Just going to be doing some more of these videos in the car, trying to make the most of my time. I'm on my way to work, and going to be talking a little bit today about financial planning, how it relates to trading cards, how it relates to how we operate in this market. And I guess what kind of sparked this topic for me is we are meeting with financial planners today. We sent over, in preparation for this meeting, my wife and I sent over kind of a snapshot of her current financial situation. And we are getting together and talking and just having kind of an informal discussion, talking about our 1, 3, 5 year plan, where we want to be. Some of maybe our more long-term goals, things like that. But it's going to be interesting because up until now, I've not had anyone kind of helping out on the financial planning side. And up until now, really my focus has been really what I learned from a young age from my father, which was just to basically put away as much money as you can, as quickly as you can, so that compounding interest works in your favor, right? And so how does this all relate to the trading card space? Well, you know, a lot of people, and you can kind of get a sense really, really quick how in tune somebody is with their, you know, their focus, their goals, what they're trying to achieve based on the questions they ask. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are a little bit scatterbrained when it comes to, you know, I guess kind of getting caught up in all the potential plays that exist in this hobby. And a lot of the time, and I know that personally, I did this a lot too when I first got started, is like it's very overwhelming. It's very difficult when you get into the space. Like, you don't want to miss, you have this, I mean, it's FOMO, right? But like you don't want to miss the next big thing. You don't want to miss the next big opportunity. And you feel like you have to just be a part of every play. And ultimately what that does is it just kind of stretches you thin. And you get to a point and you kind of look at the collection, you look at the inventory, you look at, you know, everything on paper, and you're kind of like, there's zero identity to this. There's no plan. There's no concrete goal. There's no fluency. And I know I made that, I don't want to say it was a mistake, but I kind of made that mistake early on. And that was just a result of, you know, not really maybe fully understanding this hobby, not really fully having enough experience here, because, you know, it's going to take time to kind of formulate your thesis and formulate your hypothesis of what you think is going to do better, what you think is going to be a better hold long term, what you think is going to be a better hold short term, when to take profits, when to let things go, when to kind of move on, right? And, you know, it all kind of ties back to financial planning, because that's a lot of the same thing. And if you're not sound financially, if you're not aware at a minimum, right, and you're not sort of like periodically, at least frequently enough, checking in on yourself financially, like outside of the hobby, then I don't know how you're going to make it in this space. And I'll admit that I have not been the best when it comes to that. And a lot of it is like, if you're running a business and you know, like speaking to those people who have been here and are running a business, or even like doing some amount of moderate, like frequency in terms of like shipping or like listing and buying and things like that. Like, you guys understand that, like, a lot of your time, a lot of your free time, especially if it's not your full-time gig, like, you want to try to dedicate as much time as possible to the portions of the business that are actually going to make you money. And doing bookkeeping and doing analysis and doing inventory management and understanding like what parts of your inventory have already matured and already seen a sizable margin, and which ones are stale and which ones need to be kind of let go, right? Like that's not necessarily going to be time that you will see an immediate return on, right? Like you're not going to spend 5 hours doing inventory management and you're going to say, oh, you know, that yielded a 10% return this month. I'm making more money now, right? Like there's just, it's a necessary evil of running this business or doing something in this space. And, you know, the same goes for financial planning. Like if you don't have a plan, if you're not on top of like what exactly you want to do, then you're just kind of going willy-nilly through life, and you don't really know, you know, what your objectives are, what your goals are. And, you know, I personally, you know, I made this topic because like we're meeting with a financial planner later today, and I know for me personally, and it's easy to get lost in the day-to-day business stuff and, you know, everything that's going on, but I want to be better at that. And I'm lucky enough to have a wife that wants to be a part of it and wants to also share some of the responsibilities of the business. And, you know, we're going into 2027 going to be a lot more on top of that, right? And we've kind of set some goals for ourselves, right? And it's like, okay, you know, you're talking about all this, but how do you get better? How do you improve? And some of the behavioral things that we've talked about doing are sitting down once a month and effectively just going top down and effectively just doing some bookkeeping. Like have a bookkeeping meeting, review inventory, review what are we doing to achieve our goals, right? What are our goals, right? The beginning of 2027, what, again, smart goals, right? And specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based, right? I think I probably screwed one of those up, but like you gotta be thinking in that way. And you want to try to tie your business goals into your financial goals, right? If your goal is to make $100,000 net or like pre-tax, whatever it is for the year, but you're in this hobby, and your hobby or your business, or maybe you want to make it a business, is seeing $10,000 of your hard-earned money during your full-time gig basically being sucked into that, and you're not really turning a profit, and the inventory you're picking up isn't really doing what you want it to do, or you're unable to move it or unwilling to move it, then maybe you shouldn't be here. But you can't do anything about that unless you know what the hell you're doing. And that's part of the reason we're doing what we're doing today, is because we realize that there is some amount of blind spot here with how we're operating, what we're doing, just the day-to-day business, right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy. It's going to be hard. Like, it's going to be difficult. There are going to have to be some serious behavioral changes, and there's going to have to be some sacrifices on top of like what I'm already doing, what she's already doing, that are going to have to happen in order to make sure that we get ourselves in a spot we want to be and get into maybe a little bit more of a sustainable place. And, you know, it doesn't have to be like black or white. It doesn't have to be, you know, oh, well, we're going, sorry guys, I gotta get across the intersection here. It doesn't have to be like these massive, crazy changes in behavior in order to get you on the right path. But if you don't start looking at the data, if you don't start at least tracking what you're doing, then you're never going to get better. And if you do get better, then it's going to kind of be lucky, right? And I feel like a lot of the reason we're here today, and a lot of the reason a lot of people are here today in this hobby, in this space, that have been around for a long time and have lasted a long time, is because rising tides lift all ships, right? And for a while, for the last 2 to 3 years, all you had to do was be here. All you had to do was show up. You didn't have to get crazy. You didn't have to get creative. You didn't have to be organized. You didn't have to figure out which products were doing better or worse. You didn't have to be selective. You just had to buy. You just had to buy and hold. And kudos to those people, because you still had to have conviction. You still had to believe in what you were doing. But now, as we get into the bear market, kind of the more, say, cutthroat time, right? It's going to require some differentiation. It's going to require some work and some effort. And if you were smart, if those people, those diligent people who are doing everything that I'm talking about doing now, were doing that in the bull market, then you guys are going to be in a really good spot, and you guys are going to be set up for success, and you guys are going to be set up to basically knock it out of the park. And kudos to you guys for putting in the time and effort. And I'm not saying that I have not put in time and effort. It's you know, the answer, the equation, the outlook is different for everybody, and everybody has different perspective, and everybody has different challenges and different time constraints and different needs, and you have to figure out what's best for you. So, you know, I guess all this to say, take a step back as we get into the colder months. Formulate a plan for yourself. Formulate, like, where does this, like, take a really, really high level view of all of this, of your life, and just say, like, what am I, like, what do I want out of life? What do I want? What do I want to do? What's the meaning of all of this? Where do I want to be in 30 years? Like, when do I want to retire? When, you know, if I want to have children, if you want to have children, like, what does that look like? What kind of life do you want to have for them? Like, that, you guys got to think about all this, and then ultimately the answer to those questions, formulate the objective numbers of where you need to be, and then from there you can break that down into, okay, where do I want to be in 2027, 2028, 2030, 2035, and then you can break that down into monthly goals. And then you can see if your business and your hobby and what you're doing here is worth your time, or if going and doing, like, door dashing on the side for 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week is more worth your time, right? You guys have to do this kind of analysis and these kind of comparisons in order to figure out whether or not this is the right fit for you. And we all love this hobby, like, for the most part. I mean, I personally, like, yes, this is a business. Yes, I'm trying to make money. Yes, I'm trying to better my future and my future family. But I'm here because I had an organic experience growing up where I really loved this stuff, and it made my childhood experience a lot better. And I think ultimately, if I can give that same experience or share that experience with my future children, should we be lucky enough to have children, that would be pretty cool. And if it makes us money along the way, then that's even better. So, you know, that's my kind of high level goal with all of this, and I want to see it continue to succeed. And I've met a lot of really amazing people along the way, and I think, you know, for me myself, like, being able to challenge myself to run my own thing, to get my hands dirty, I love all that, and I really want to continue to do that. So think about all that, guys. I know that was a little bit of a ramble, and again, I'm sorry for, you know, this device is my device is a little bit heavier, the phone, and it's shaking a little bit, so, you know, I apologize in advance. Like, you know, I'll try to find a way, if there's something I can use to to kind of reduce the amount of shaking that's going on. But for those of you who stuck with the video and watched it, you know, let me know below what your thoughts are, right? Have you thought about how your business kind of fits into your overall personal finances, and does it align, right? Like, how often do you do it? Like, what level of bookkeeping do you do? I'd be interested to hear how you guys make it work and what level of time and effort you guys kind of put in, because we're kind of at a point now where we're really focusing on that. We want to get better. We want to do a good job and really make sure we're set up for success for the long term. So that's all I got for today, guys. Going to be pulling into work here soon, but I'll see you guys next time. Peace.